The camera caught it clear as day, my wife in our bed with another man at 2:47 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. I was supposed to be across town setting cabinets in a client's kitchen. My name is Nick Harper, 42 years old. I build custom cabinets and tables out of my garage. It is not fancy, but it has always kept the lights on and food on the table for Amber and our 16-year-old daughter, Sophie. All of that felt steady until I watched my marriage blow apart on my laptop screen. "Dad, you look like you saw a ghost," Sophie said as she walked into the shop. I snapped the computer shut so fast my hands shook. "Just work stuff, kiddo. Nothing to worry about," I said. "Did you not have soccer?" "Coach canceled," she said. "Mom is not home. I am starving. Can you make me a sandwich?" "Sure," I said, following her inside. It was the same house where Amber had entertained her coworker 3 hours earlier. The same bedroom where we had slept for 15 years. The same bed a little girl used to climb into during loud storms. The same room where I held Amber through her father's cancer scare 2 years back. Now every corner felt tilted. "Earth to Dad," Sophie said, waving a hand. "You are acting weird." "Thinking about a project," I said. I opened the refrigerator and grabbed turkey and Swiss cheese. "Human resources stuff at your mom's office must be keeping her late again," I added, because that is what the text said. "Working late, right?" 3 weeks earlier, I had mounted the security cameras after Mrs. Whitaker, the neighbor, mentioned seeing strange comings and goings in the afternoon. I figured maybe someone was casing our place. Turned out the only thing getting broken into was my marriage. I built Sophie's sandwich like a robot while my mind ran hot. The man in the footage was Blake Turner from Amber's regional office. I had met him at a few company gatherings. Tall, gym-built, strong cologne, talks a lot about high-intensity workouts and times on the clock. The type who smirks when he says hands-on jobs, like mine. "Dad, that is a lot of mustard," Sophie said. She was right. I had been squeezing without thinking. After she ate and headed upstairs to do homework, I went back to the shop and started planning. I am good with my hands. I know how to build. I know how to take things apart. Tonight, I was going to take apart Amber's perfect little world, piece by piece. First call was to my best friend, Tommy Barnes, who owns Harbor Tap downtown. "Nick, what is going on?" he asked. "I need a favor," I said. "If anyone asks, I was at your bar tonight from 6 o'clock until closing." A long pause. "What are you getting into?" "The kind where I catch my wife cheating and need an alibi for what I am going to do next." "Good Lord," he said. "You sure?" "I have it on video, Tommy. Clear picture. Clear sound." "That woman," he muttered. "I have your back. But, Nick, do not do anything dumb." "I am not going to hurt anybody," I said. "But the truth is going to come out." Next, I called Amber's parents. Carol and Richard Adams live in the old Victorian on Elm Street, the one that has been in their family forever. Church every Sunday. Talk about honor. Talk about vows. "Hello, Richard. It is Nick. I need to speak with you and Carol. Tonight." "Of course, son," he said. "You sound upset. Is everything all right?" "I will explain when I get there," I said. "And you might want Carol sitting down." At 7:30, I knocked on their door with my laptop bag. Carol answered, silver hair set just right even that late. "Come in, dear," she said. "Richard is in the living room." "Coffee?" "No, thank you," I said. "Please, take a seat." We sat in their formal room, dark wood, old portraits thick with history. I put the laptop on the coffee table. "I installed security cameras 3 weeks ago," I said. "I thought we had a break-in problem. I found something else." I turned the screen toward them. This was recorded today at 2:47 in the afternoon. I pressed play. Carol gasped and covered her mouth. Richard's face went from white to red to something dark. "Turn it off," Carol whispered. "Please." I closed the lid. "There is more," I said. "Different days. Different angles." Richard stood with his fists tight. "That is our daughter," he said, voice shaking. "We raised her to keep her word." "I am sorry you had to see it," I said. "But I needed you to know before I take the next steps." "What are you planning?" Carol asked through tears. "I am going to make sure the people who matter know what she has done," I said. "Her friends, the folks at work, everyone at church." I picked up the laptop and walked to the door. The kind of quiet that follows a thunderclap filled the room. "I am going to take her good name apart the same way she took apart our marriage," I said. Richard nodded, slow and heavy. "She made her bed. With Blake Turner, apparently," I said. The next morning, I put the plan in motion. First, I called my shop assistant, Ryan. Family emergency, I told him. I am off for a few days. You have the orders. Keep things moving. Then I called Amber at work. I kept my voice even. Hey, honey. A last-minute job just landed. Custom dining set for a tech executive in Chicago. Good money. I will be gone until Friday. Oh, she said, failing to hide the lift in her voice. That is great, Nick. The extra money will help. I am leaving this afternoon, I said. Give Sophie a kiss for me when she gets home. Of course. Drive safe, she said, and hung up fast. I dialed Mrs. Whitaker, our 70-year-old neighbor who runs the street like a friendly air traffic controller. Hello, this is Nick Harper next door. Oh, hello, dear. How are you? She said. I am fine. I am headed out of town for a few days. Would you keep an eye on the house? Let me know if you see anything odd. Always watching the block, she said. You can count on me. Perfect. Mrs. Whitaker has better eyes than half the city cameras. I spent the afternoon at Harbor Tap, nursing one beer and waiting. At 4 o'clock, my phone buzzed with a text from Amber. Blake is coming by for dinner to discuss the Henderson account. Do not wait up when you get to Chicago. The Henderson account. Sure. At 6 o'clock, I parked 3 blocks away and cut through the woods to the back of our lot. From the old oak, the one with Sophie's tire swing and the hearts we carved 20 years ago, I could see the bedroom window clear as glass. At 7:15, a silver BMW slid into my driveway. Blake stepped out with a bottle of wine and a bouquet like he owned the place. My house. My wife. My jaw went tight. I called the house. Hello. Amber answered on the second ring. Hey, I said lightly. Just letting you know I made it to Chicago. That is good, she said. I was just finishing some work with Blake. We are reviewing the Henderson files. It is complicated. Do not work too hard, I said. I love you. Love you too, she said quick. The call ended. Through the living room glass, I watched Blake put a hand on her back and steer her toward the stairs. I waited 30 long minutes. Then I moved. My key still fit. I eased the door open and stepped inside. The sounds from upstairs turned my stomach. I opened the hall closet and took out my old Louisville Slugger from high school, the one Amber always wanted me to toss. I called Amber's parents. Richard, it is Nick. I need you and Carol at the house. Now. What is wrong, he asked. She is here with him, I said. We are coming, he said. I waited on the porch. 10 minutes later, their car rolled up. Richard looked carved from stone. Carol clutched her purse like a life preserver. Are you sure? Carol whispered. Listen, I said. In the cool evening air, the sounds from the bedroom window were plain as church bells. Oh, dear God, Carol breathed. I unlocked the door. After you. We climbed the stairs together, 3 people running on righteous anger. The bedroom door was shut, but not locked. I turned the handle and pushed it open. They were so lost in themselves they did not notice us at first. Blake wore my bathrobe, the one Amber gave me for Christmas 3 years ago. Amber wore nothing but her grandmother's pearl necklace. Well, I said, loud and clear. The Henderson account is more hands-on than I expected. Amber screamed and grabbed the sheet. Blake lurched, tripped, and smacked into my dresser. My watches flew across the floor like coins. Nick, what are you? You were supposed to be in Chicago. Amber gasped. Surprise, I said. I brought guests. She saw her parents. Carol stared at her daughter with horror and disappointment fighting on her face. Richard stared at Blake with pure rage. Mom? Dad? What are you doing here? Amber stammered. We came to see what kind of woman we raised, Richard said, voice shaking. Apparently, we failed. Blake hopped on one foot, trying to jam on his pants. Mr. and Mrs. Adams, this is not what it looks like. It looks like you are with my daughter in her husband's bed while wearing his robe, Richard said. What should it look like? I can explain, Amber said, clutching the sheet. Please do, I said, leaning on the doorframe with my arms crossed. And then the silence finally caught up with all of us. I would love to hear how this is one big misunderstanding, I said. Amber opened her mouth, then shut it again. What was she going to claim? That she slipped and landed on Blake by accident? You disgust me, Carol said quietly. Both of you. In this house. In this bed where our granddaughter was conceived. That landed. Amber started to cry, not from remorse, but from being caught. Everyone needs to calm down, Blake said, finally yanking his pants into place. We can handle this like adults. Adults. I laughed. Adults do not sneak around on their spouses. Adults do not sleep with a coworker's wife in the husband's bed. Adults do not text about working late while they are working under my roof. Nick, please, Amber said. Can we talk privately? No, I said. Privacy is how you two got here. From now on, the truth stays in the light. Blake tried to shoulder past me toward the door. I stepped in front of him. Where are you going, champ? I am leaving. This is between you and your wife. Oh no, I said. You are in it. Sit down. I do not have to listen to this. I picked up the Louisville Slugger I had leaned against the wall. Sit, I said. He sat on the edge of my bed, still wearing my robe over those rushed-on pants. The irony stung. Here is what happens next, I said to both of them. First, you are going to tell Amber's parents exactly how long this has been going on. Nick, please, Amber whispered. How long? Richard demanded. Amber stared at the floor. 6 months. 6 months, I repeated. 6 months of working late and team building. 6 months of lying to my face. It was not supposed to happen, Blake said. It developed naturally. Naturally, Carol said. There is nothing natural about breaking vows, young man. Mrs. Adams, you do not understand the pressure at work, Blake said. Amber and I connect on a professional level that. Enough, I said. Spare us the corporate buzzword soup. You wanted my wife, and you went after her. At least tell the truth. Richard stepped forward. Amber, look at me. She lifted her eyes to meet his. We taught you commitment, he said. We taught you honor and keeping your word. What happened to those? I do not know, she whispered. I felt trapped, like my life was just routine. Blake made me feel alive again. Alive, I said. Let us see how alive you feel when everyone at the office watches the security footage. Blake went pale. What footage? The cameras I installed 3 weeks ago, I said. They recorded everything. Every kiss, every touch, every time you walked into my house to be with my wife. High definition. Clean audio. You cannot do that, Amber said. That is illegal. Actually, it is not. It is my house, I said. I can install cameras and I can share what happens in my home. Please, she said through tears. Think of Sophie. I am thinking of Sophie, I said. She deserves better than a mother who lies and brings another man into our home. I am not some stranger, Blake protested. I have been to your barbecues and your Christmas parties. Exactly, I said. You ate my food, drank my beer, and planned how to approach my wife. That makes it worse. Carol stared at her daughter. How could you do this to your family and to your vows? You do not know what it is like being married to him, Amber snapped, waving a hand at me. He is always working, always covered in sawdust, never wants to go anywhere or do anything exciting. So you picked someone exciting instead, I said. Problem solved. Richard shook his head. We are leaving, Carol. Wait, I said. There is more. I pulled out my phone and opened my gallery. Blake, you will want to see this. It was a photo of his silver BMW in my driveway, license plate clear as day. I have been documenting everything. Dates, times, how long you stay, what you bring. I have 3 weeks of proof that shows a pattern of adultery. What do you want? Blake asked. I want you to understand that your life, as it is over, I said. Your girlfriend Natalie is going to find out. Your coworkers are going to find out. Your gym buddies are going to find out. Everyone will know Blake Turner goes after married women. You bastard, he said. I am the bastard. I asked. I am not the one who spent 6 months in another man's marriage. Amber stood, clutching the sheet. Fine. You want a divorce? You will get a divorce. But I will not let you destroy my life over this. Your life? I said, and a laugh slipped out. You did that the moment you brought him into our bed. The court will call this harassment, she said. You cannot humiliate us publicly and think there will be no consequences. We will see, I said. The truth has a way of sounding like humiliation when you are the one who caused it. Actually, I said. Everything I plan to do is legal. Sharing footage from cameras inside my own home, legal. Telling people what I saw with my own eyes, legal. Making sure folks know the kind of people you really are, also legal. Blake stood. I am leaving. Sure, I said, stepping aside. But, Blake, you may want to check your car before you drive off. He shoved past me and thundered down the stairs. A beat later his shout tore in from the driveway. What did you do? Amber asked. Nothing illegal, I said. Take a look. She crossed to the window, pulled the curtain, and sucked in a breath. Across the windshield of that silver BMW, big red letters screamed, "Homewrecker." The paint glowed under the porch light like a flare. "You cannot do that," she said. "I just did," I said. "And that is only the start." Richard slipped an arm around Carol. His voice was low and tired. "We are going home. Amber, do not call us again until you can figure out how to apologize for this disgrace." After her parents left, Amber turned on me, eyes sharp as nails. "You think you are clever. You think you won something." "I exposed the truth," I said. "Everything else is just the consequence of choices." "I will destroy you in the divorce," she snapped. "I will take half of everything, including your precious workshop." "Good luck," I said. "This state still allows fault-based divorce. Adultery matters. And I have evidence. A lot of it." She stared hard, mouth tight, gears turning behind her eyes. "Sophie is going to hate you for this," she said finally. "Sophie will hate the person who broke our family," I said. "If you are confused about who that is, look in a mirror." I picked up my keys. "Where are you going?" she called. "Out," I said. "It is still my house, but I cannot stand the smell right now." I drove straight to Harbor Tap, where Tommy Barnes had a cold beer waiting, and that look he saves for bad days. "How did it go?" he asked. "Better than I thought," I said. Her parents saw. "Blake is probably outside scrubbing red paint off his windshield." "Good," Tommy said. "That took guts." "I need another favor," I said. "Name it." "I need you to accidentally mention what happened to a few regulars. Casual. Nothing over the top. Just let the wind carry it." He grinned. "Accidentally is my specialty." Harbor Tap is the kind of bar where news moves faster than the jukebox. By closing time, half the neighborhood would know Amber Harper had been sneaking around with some corporate peacock. I was 3 beers deep when my phone lit up like a pinball machine. First text, "Mrs. Whitaker. Dear, I saw that young man leave in a rush. Is everything all right?" I typed, "Everything is under control now, Mrs. Whitaker. Thank you for watching out." Second text, "Blake, you are going to pay for my car." I replied, "Send me the repair bill. I will frame it." Third text, "Amber, we need to talk." I ignored it. Fourth text, "Sophie, Dad, Mom is crying and will not tell me why. Where are you?" There is red paint all over the driveway. That sobered me up fast. I stepped outside into the night air and called. "Hey, sweetheart." "Dad, what is going on?" she said. "Mom has been locked in your bedroom for 2 hours. The driveway is a mess." "I will be home in 20 minutes, I said. "We need to talk." "Is everything okay?" "No, honey," I said. "Everything is not okay. But it will be." The drive home felt longer than any mile I ever drove. Streetlights slid by in slow motion. My hands were tight on the wheel. I tried to find the right words. There are no right words for this. Sophie was waiting on the couch when I walked in. Amber was nowhere. "Dad, you are scaring me," she said. "What happened?" I sat beside her. My voice came out steady, but it felt like lifting something heavy. "Sophie, your mom and I are getting divorced." Her face crumpled. "Why? What did you do?" "I did not do anything," I said. Your mother has been seeing another man." "What do you mean, seeing?" "I mean she has been in a relationship behind my back," I said. "For 6 months." She stared at the carpet, then at me, trying to make the pieces fit. "Are you sure?" "I have video from the cameras in the house," I said. "I wish I did not. But I do." "Oh my God," she whispered, putting her face in her hands. "Who is it?" "Someone from her office," I said. "It does not really matter who." "It does matter," she said, lifting her head. "I want to know who broke us." I took a breath. "His name is Blake Turner. You have met him at company parties. Fancy car. Talks about workouts all the time." She blinked, and I watched understanding turn into hurt, and hurt turn into anger. Her jaw worked like she was chewing on a word she did not want to say. I put a hand on her shoulder. "This is not on you," I said. "None of it. You are my kid, and I am right here." She nodded and leaned into me, quiet tears soaking my shirt. The house was still, but it felt like a storm had rolled through and rearranged the furniture of our lives. I sat there holding my daughter and decided one thing for certain. Whatever came next, the truth would stay in front, and my hands would be steady. "That is him," Sophie said at last. Her voice was flat, like a door closing. She stared at the wall for a long beat. Then it cracked out of her. "I hate her." "Do not say that," I said softly. "She is still your mother." "She is a liar and a cheater," Sophie fired back. How could she do this to us? I do not know, honey. People make bad choices sometimes. Bad choices, Dad, she said, eyes shining. This is not a bad choice. This is evil. Before I could answer, Amber appeared at the top of the stairs, holding the rail like it might steady the world. Sophie, can we talk? No. Sophie's answer was sharp and sure. I do not want to talk to you. Please, sweetheart. Let me explain. Explain what? Sophie stood up, her voice climbing. How you lied to us for 6 months. How you brought your boyfriend into our house. Amber came down 2 steps, then another. It is complicated, Sophie. You do not understand adult relationships. I understand cheating, Sophie said. I understand lying. I understand you wrecked our family because you were bored. That is not fair, Amber whispered. Fair. Sophie's hands clenched at her sides. You want to talk about fair? Is it fair Dad had to install cameras to find out his wife was cheating? Is it fair I have to learn my mother is a liar? Sophie, please. No, she said, breathing hard. I am going to stay with Grandma and Grandpa Adams. I cannot even look at you. She turned and took the stairs 2 at a time. I heard drawers slide, a zipper, the clack of her suitcase wheels. Amber faced me with wet eyes. Nick, help me fix this. Fix this. I said. You broke something that does not go back together. It was a mistake. A stupid, terrible mistake. A mistake is forgetting milk, I said. This was a choice. 6 months of choices. I will end it with Blake, she said quickly. I will do whatever you want. It is too late, I said. Way too late. Sophie came back down with her overnight bag hugged to her chest. I called Grandma. She is on her way. Sophie, please do not go, Amber begged. We can work through this as a family. We are not a family anymore, Sophie said, cold as a January wind. You made sure of that. 20 minutes later, Carol Adams pulled to the curb. She did not look at Amber. She wrapped Sophie in her arms, led her to the car, and drove away without a word. Silence filled the house. It felt larger and emptier than it had that morning. Amber and I stood in the living room like strangers waiting for a bus that was not coming. So what now, she asked. Now you pack a bag and find somewhere else to stay, I said. I will file for divorce tomorrow. This is my house too, she said. Not anymore, I said. I did some reading. In a fault-based divorce for adultery, the spouse who did not cheat often keeps the marital home, especially when there is clear video of the affair in that home. Her face lost its color. You cannot kick me out. I am asking you to leave willingly, I said. If you refuse, I will have you removed. You bastard. I am the bastard, I said. After everything you have done, that is the story you want to tell? She went upstairs without another word. I could hear hangers scraping the rod, drawers opening and closing. While she packed, I called my lawyer and left a message. When Amber came down with a suitcase, I was waiting by the door. Where will you go? I asked. Blake's apartment, I guess, she said. Good, I said. You two deserve each other. Her hand hovered on the handle. Nick, I am sorry. No, you are not, I said. You are sorry you got caught. That is different. She opened the door and stepped into the night. The house swallowed the quiet behind her. I poured a whiskey in the shop and sat among the pieces of oak and walnut I had shaped with my hands. The workbench, the clamps, the scent of sawdust, all the solid things I trusted, felt like a raft. My marriage, my family, the future I pictured, those were splinters now. But I was not done. Not by a long shot. Morning came with a headache and a clear list. I called my attorney first. Michael Grant's voice was clipped and awake. Nick, I got your message. Good Lord, what a mess. I want to take them both apart legally, I said. What are my options? You have grounds for a fault-based divorce, Michael said. That puts you in a strong position for the house, for primary custody of Sophie, and for a favorable split of assets. As for the boyfriend, if he was in your home without your permission outside of your wife's invitation, we can explore trespass or civil remedies depending on state law. What about work? I asked. They are co-workers. If their relationship breaks company policy, that is their employer's problem, he said. Do you know if the company has a rule about supervisor-subordinate relationships or general fraternization? I will find out, I said. Gather copies of everything you have, Michael added. Video, photos, texts, call logs. Write a clean timeline while it is fresh. I will draft and file. When we hung up, I called Amber's regional director, Karen Phillips. I knew her from holiday mixers, no nonsense, tight ship, the kind of manager who reads every line of policy. Ms. Phillips, this is Nick Harper, Amber's husband. Oh, hello, Nick. How are you? I have been better, I said. I am calling because Amber and Blake Turner have been in a relationship for the past 6 months. Silence stretched. Then, that is a serious allegation, Mr. Harper. I have video from our home, I said. Multiple occasions during the workday. He has been at my house on company time. I understand, she said. Can you send me the evidence? I will email it this afternoon, I said. Mr. Harper, I have to ask, are you certain you want to proceed? Once I receive that material, I must act. Ms. Phillips, I said. They used company time and company devices to carry on the affair. Blake came to my house during work hours. I think your team deserves to know what is happening under your name. There was another pause. Send the files, she said at last. I will handle it from here. I ended the call and looked around the shop. The morning light came in through the high window and laid a long bar across the bench. I picked up a pencil, sharpened it with a pocket knife, and started writing the timeline Michael asked for: dates, hours, who said what, who showed up when. The lead bit the paper clean. My hand did not shake. Whatever came next, I would meet it head on. Truth on the table. Evidence ready. Steady as a man with a square and a level. They have been lying to their co-workers about the relationship, I told Karen Phillips. Yes, I am certain I want you to see the evidence. I understand, she said. Send me what you have. After I hung up, I got to work. I spent nearly 2 hours at my shop computer turning raw clips into a clean, undeniable package. I overlaid timestamps, showed Blake's silver German sedan easing into our driveway at 11:30 in the morning, 1:15 in the afternoon, 2:40 on a Tuesday, always during business hours. I cut in the bedroom audio where they whispered about client files and meeting schedules while tangled in my sheets. I paused the frame on both faces. No blurs, no guesswork. I kept the sound levels even, added slate cards with dates, and built a shot list so there would be no question about what each clip showed. When it was done, I wrote a short cover note and attached a detailed timeline: day, time, duration, and where he parked. I included still photos of the license plate, text message screenshots, and the log of my neighbor's daytime sightings. Then I sent the folder to Karen with a read receipt and backed everything up to an external drive that I locked in my safe. Next, I called Mrs. Whitaker. Hello, dear, she said, voice warm but worried. How are you holding up? I am managing, I said. I wanted to thank you for keeping an eye on the house. Your watchfulness helped me figure out Amber was having an affair. Oh my goodness, she said. I knew something was off. That shiny silver car was there far too often in the middle of the day. Yes, I said. I just wanted you to know, in case anyone asks. Amber and I are getting divorced. Of course, she said gently. Is there anything I can do? Actually, if anyone asks what you saw, please tell the truth. Of course, dear, she said again. Mrs. Whitaker is better than a front page when it comes to neighborhood news, and I was done protecting the lie. Around noon my phone rang. Blake did not bother with hello. You son of a, he started. Good morning to you too, Blake, I said. Karen Phillips just hauled us into her office, he said. She saw your cute little presentation. How did that go? I asked. We are both suspended while they investigate, he snapped. If they find proof of misconduct, we could be fired. That is a shame, I said, and I meant none of it. Maybe you should have thought about that before you started sleeping with a married woman during work hours. You are wrecking our careers over a personal matter. Personal, I said. You made it professional the second you used company time and company devices. And you made it my business the second you did it in my home. Amber is devastated, he said. Good, I said. She should be devastated. She should be ashamed. She should be sorry. We never meant for this to happen, he said. You meant every bit of it, I answered. You just did not mean to get caught. He hung up on me. An hour later Amber called. Nick, please, she said, breath hitching. You have to call Karen and tell her you made a mistake. I did not make a mistake, I said. You did. They are going to fire us, she said. Is that what you want? For me to lose my job? Amber, I do not care what happens to your job, I said. I do not care what happens to Blake's job. I care that you blew up our marriage and dragged our daughter through the mud. I will do anything, she said in a rush. Counseling. No contact with Blake. I will. It is too late. It is not too late, she pleaded. We can fix this. No, I said. We cannot. And even if we could, I would not want to. You showed me who you are. You are not the woman I married. You are not who I want to grow old with. I love you, she said, crying hard now. No, I said. If you loved me, you would not have done it. I ended the call and powered the phone down. The quiet felt like a clean room. That evening, Sophie called from her grandparents' house. Dad, Mom came over here crying. She begged Grandma and Grandpa to talk you into it. What did they say? I asked. Grandpa told her she made her bed and now she has to lie in it, Sophie said. Grandma would not even let her inside. How are you doing, kiddo? I am angry, she said. I am sad, but I am proud of you for standing up for yourself. Thank you, I said, and it landed deeper than I expected. Dad, are you going to be all right? Yes, Sophie, I said. I am going to be fine. We both are. 2 days later, my attorney Michael Grant called with his usual straight-ahead delivery. I have good news and bad news, he said. Give me the bad news. Amber hired a lawyer, he said. She is going to fight the divorce. And the good news? Her lawyer is not sharp, he said. He is claiming your security cameras were installed illegally and the footage is inadmissible. Is he right? I asked, even though I knew the answer. Not even close, Michael said. You own the home. The cameras are in common areas where there is no reasonable expectation of privacy. You did not record any private communications you were not a party to beyond what the law allows. The timestamps, the visible plates, and the fact pattern are clean. We will move to admit the evidence, and, frankly, I like our odds. I exhaled and looked around the shop, at the clamps, the chisels, the straight lines of freshly planed maple. For the first time in a long time, I felt the grain running with me, not against. All right, I said. Let us finish what we started. You have every right to install cameras in your own home, Michael Grant said. The footage is admissible, and it is powerful. What about work? I asked. I heard through the grapevine, he said, that both Amber and Blake were terminated yesterday for policy violations. A clean jolt of satisfaction ran through me. Really, he said. Your video package was thorough. Their company bars fraternization, and using work hours for personal relationships is grounds for immediate termination. Both are now unemployed, both heading into a messy divorce, and both dealing with the social fallout. Good, I said. Actions meet consequences. The last piece of my plan snapped into place that weekend. Tommy Barnes called early Saturday. Nick, you need to get down here, he said. Now. Why? What is going on? Blake is at the bar. He is hammered and running his mouth about you. I was at Harbor Tap in 10 minutes. The place smelled like fried onions and old wood. Blake leaned at the far end, eyes glassy, telling anyone within earshot that I was a control freak who ruined his life over nothing. Nothing, I said from behind him. You call 6 months of sleeping with my wife nothing. He turned, wobbling. There he is, he said. The man of the hour. Blake, you are drunk, I said. Go home. I do not have a home, he slurred. Thanks to you, I cannot afford my apartment. Thanks to you, I do not have a job. Thanks to you, my girlfriend left. Thanks to me. I said, I did not make you cheat. I did not make you lie. I did not make you crush 2 families. That was all you. You set us up, he spat. You knew we were coming over that night. I knew because you had been coming over for 6 months, I said. I knew because both of you are terrible liars. The bar got quiet. Stools stopped creaking. Even the ice machine sounded loud. You want the truth? Blake said, raising his voice. Your wife came to me. She said you were boring in bed, boring in life, boring where it counts. That word, boring, hit like a thumb in the chest. I grabbed his shirt and planted him against the bar. You want to talk about boring? I said, let us talk about a 34-year-old who peaked in high school. Let us talk about a man who chases married women because no single woman will deal with his nonsense for longer than a month. Get your hands off me, he hissed. Let us talk about this, too, I said, leaning in steady. You are unemployed. You are sleeping on someone's couch. And everyone who knows what you did cannot stand the sight of you. I let go and stepped back. You are pathetic, Blake. You were pathetic sneaking into my home, and you are pathetic now. He threw a wild punch. I ducked. He stumbled past me and crashed into a table, knocking over a basket of fries. A couple of regulars stood up fast. Call him a cab, I told Tommy. He is done here. Tommy nodded to the bouncer, and they hauled Blake to the door. He kept muttering threats and half-formed insults all the way out. The door shut. The noise of the room came back like a tide. Standing there, I felt it settle in my bones. I had done what I set out to do. Amber had lost her job, her standing, and the future she thought she was owed. Blake had burned his bridges and his reputation. They paid full price for their choices. I stepped outside into the cool night air. The street smelled like rain and cut grass. For the first time in months, my shoulders dropped. Tomorrow I would start building again. Tonight, I could finally breathe. The next week, Sophie moved back home. We ordered pizza and watched old movies, the kind we used to watch when she was small, animated dragons, goofy comedies, the whole lot. During a commercial, she said, "Dad? Yeah. I am glad you fought back. I am glad you did not let them get away with it." "Me too, kiddo," I said. "Me too." 6 months later, the divorce decree came through. The judge awarded me the house, primary custody of Sophie, and the lion's share of our assets. Amber got a small settlement and every other weekend visitation. She packed what was left of her savings and moved out of state to start fresh. Blake moved back in with his parents, which somehow felt like the truest ending for a man who never grew up. I kept the cameras, not because I needed them anymore, but because they reminded me of a simple truth. You protect what matters, you keep receipts, and you stand your ground. The shop hummed again, steady and honest. My daughter laughed at the television in the next room. The house felt like itself, and I was finally free.